Hi, I'm Pastor Bryan. This is Robbie, and I am thrilled that the worship team and the AV crew, they're all one team,
Yep.
at Redeeming Life Church is going through the book Worship Matters by Bob Kauflin. Robbie, why this book?
This seems to be the go-to book amongst many worship pastors that I've talked to. We have some good friends in Kentucky, even just down the road. They require their team to actually go through it, and I actually had this in college. I didn't read it all the way through, but it is what. Yeah, I know. Don't tell my advisor. But no, even just what we've hit on, we're just going a chapter a week at a time, and we're just doing some brief recaps each Sunday. And what we've been hitting so far, I mean, it's good material, and I believe it's going to be grounding and foundational for the worship team.
I like it because it seems to fit well with the ethos of who we are as a church, and I think what God is leading us to be. And you're just going a chapter at a time, so I just thought, why don't we go through a chapter at a time as well? I don't think we need to get into the same depth that your team is getting into, but let's just jump into the chapter 1. I mean, there's a foreword, but let's jump into chapter 1. Oh, by the way, hey, the nuts and bolts for anybody coming along on this. The book is Worship Matters, Leading Others to Encounter the Greatness of God. It's published by Crossway. Let me get a date here. The one I have is copyright 2008, and it's how many pages do you think we have here? About 260 something? Yeah, 259 pages. All right, so chapter 1. Let's hit the nuts and bolts. What are the highlights? You have a bunch of things highlighted.
Yeah.
What are your takeaways and thoughts on chapter 1?
I'll just share just a quote. It's on page 19. It says, "Worship matters." And I just love what he's doing here. He says, "Worship matters. It matters to God because he is the one ultimately worthy of all worship. It matters to us because worshiping God is the reason for which we were created." And you kind of catch this in the forward as well, but
it's the purpose.
Yeah, it's the purpose. He goes beyond the practicality of like how do you do worship, and he starts with the inner self, like who you are, like your soul. Like he's hitting heart matters.
Well, I like, and then the conclusion of that paragraph, just on the same thing, says discovering what matters in worship is a journey, and that's really what he seems to be getting at.
Yes,
which I like.
Yeah.
I also, just because I'm kind of nerdy this way, I've got a little note here that says, "Is this the purpose? Is this the thesis he wrote?" He talks about there's a lot of difficulties, there's a lot of challenges in leading worship. This is on page 17. He says you just want to do it better, more effectively, more skillfully, more faithfully.
Yeah.
And then he writes in the next sentence, "That's why I wrote the book," which I just really appreciate what he's doing. He gives us a roadmap too. The initial chapters are about the way we think and live. I want to challenge, encourage, and inspire you to live your life for the glory and praise of Jesus Christ.
And that's really interesting. Like, how often do we really think about why do we do what we do? I mean, especially here. And so it's one thing we're wanting to do as a team is just really think about why we approach worship ministry and how we approach worship ministry the way that we do.
That's great. You love the book.
Yeah, it's great so far. Yeah,
been really, really helpful.
Yeah.
I love that you're taking our team through it, and I firmly believe that it's going to have huge payoffs for what we see coming out of this as our worship team is leading the choir, so to speak, the whole rest of the church into the worship and just the experience of encountering God on the Lord's Day. And then I'm suspecting, and hopefully if someone comes along later, they'll get a copy of the book, they'll watch the videos.
I actually just ordered some more yesterday.
Okay, good. Well, that's pretty simple. Yep. That's pretty simple. So in the following videos, we'll just take it a chapter at a time, yeah?
Chapter at a time, hit some highlights, yeah.
That sounds great. I want to encourage, go pick up Worship Matters by Bob Kauflin.